Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. Today we're going to make a decorated notepad, and I have done these in the past, but this one actually has a little holder for your pen and a little pocket inside for putting receipts or bits and pieces that you don't want to lose, and then you've got your notepad here. I'm using this as an opportunity to showcase more of this lovely Daffodil Afternoon Designer Series paper, which is a freebie with current celebration, available until February 28th, 2022. And while for this one, I picked out the Pale Papaya as my base, for the card I'm going to share with you in this video, I am going to be using Evening Evergreen. So my piece of cardstock is 11 by 6 1/8. And I know I can hear you groaning when I talk about eighths, but if you use the Stampin' Up paper trimmer, you will be able to cut eighths really easily, because the little ruler here is in fact divided into eighths as well as quarters, halves and sixteenths. Now, the scoring for this one is, I'm going to start with the back and end with the flap inside. It was just easier to do it that way for me. So the first score goes in at 4 3/8, and then the next score is 4 3/4, and then the third score is 5 1/8, and that gives us like the little hinge, or the spine rather, to the covered pad. And then our final score is at 9 1/8. Now, you don't have to remember all these or try and make frantic notes while I'm talking, because if you go below this video, you will see a link and it will take you to my blog, and all the information you need for measurements and scoring and everything will be in that post. All right, so we're going to put in our folds. Now, this fold here, that's the flap for the little pocket inside. And then we're going to do the next fold, which is going to be, let me think, a mountain. And then we're going to do the next one, which is a valley. And even if you don't do this quite right, you can still flip out the folds afterwards. But there we have, and you can see that this bit here, this piece here, that is going to be the flat bit for, if you like, the back, and then this bit comes out to curl round the notepad. Now, I like to just do a little bit of decoration. So I've got my trio punch here, which I'm just going to do my corners of the flap. Just makes it look finished. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a cut in this spine for the pen. So I'm going to take the pen, and I want to make sure that the little holder piece comes down to roughly where the little hooky bit is on the cap. And so I'm just going to lay it there, and then with my pen, I'm just going to make a mark. And it doesn't really matter how big your how big the loop is. If you look, it's quite big. I just wanted to make sure I've got a nice meaty piece for it to hang on to the pen. And then we're going to just take that fold out. So the in fold, we've just temporarily pushed it out, and I'm going to cut from the fold to the score line there, and it's actually crossing over from this score line over that one to this one. And then when we push this back together again, making sure that the little loop, let's pop that back in, that's being a pest, that the little loop is now like this, and if I pick it up, you'll be able to see that we've got it sticking out. And then we go in with some double-sided tape. I prefer to use double-sided tape for this job because it just is a little bit stronger than our other adhesives. And I am putting it on the side that is next to the back of the card holder, of the notebook cover rather. Like that. And then I'm going to put a couple of bits on the flap here. So I'm going to try and get it as close to the edge as I can, because then we'll be able to max out on the size of the things that can actually go into the pocket. And I haven't taken it beyond the curvy bit that I just cut out when I rounded my corners. So I'm going to buff up the backing of my tape, and then with my pick your tool, I'm going to just gently pull off the backing. And then this piece is just going to fold back over where the back is. And because I didn't put tape on the center part, my little pen holder is now free, as it were. And when I get my notepad in there, which, would you believe I've put down, so I'll find that in a second, my notepad in there, then this will sit up nicely and my pen will go in there like that. So that's basically the construction. Now we're just going to do some decorating. I have some pieces of the designer series paper, and the first thing I'm going to do is just cut a piece that goes on the top of the little pen holder. And that's the reason I didn't really cut it ahead of time, because I didn't know how big my pen holder would actually end up being. So that is going to go on there like that. I don't like that bit. I'm going to use another piece. And I'm just cutting it slightly shorter than the actual pen holder. And I'm going to use some liquid adhesive, tiny little drop, so it doesn't squidge out and go everywhere. And then I'm just going to lay that on. And the reason I like this piece as opposed to the piece that I first cut is that this has got more detail on it, just a little bit more detail. And then I've got my piece of designer series paper here. Now this is 5 7/8 by 3 5/8. But remember when I said to you, by using the Stampin' Up! trimmer, it's really easy to do those 8ths. Now I'm going to just around my corners again, and with this particular punch, you can see it's got 3 different designs. This is a ribbon hole, this is a decorative corner, and then this is a rounder. When I use it, I like to make sure that I've got my paper firmly between the 2 marks here and pushed into the corner, and then put my hand down on the center. If you pop it on the side where that particular cutter is, you're making work hard for yourself, because it doesn't punch as cleanly. So just making sure I've got those bits in there. And then I'm going to take another piece of designer series paper. This is the same length. This is 5 7/8 and 1 5/8. And making sure it's the right way up, I'm going to round the 2 corners so it just matches up with what I did on the inside of the pocket. Alrighty, so we finished with our punch. And while this is still flat, I'm going to lay the pocket down. And just slide my piece of decorative paper into place. And then I can take the tape off the sides and just gently bring it over like that. And then just press firmly, and then my pocket is nicely positioned. And then my other piece of decorative paper is going to go on the front. And again, making sure I've got it the right way up. I'm just going to center it like this. Just use my fingers to just squidge it around a little bit. That's why, those of you who follow me know that I do like the liquid adhesive, because it does give me the opportunity to just move it around to make sure it's centered. Now my decorative piece, I shared a video a little while ago, about a couple of weeks I think, where we made a card and I showed you how to create this front piece. And if you see, we've got some Wink of Stella. I think you can just see it on there. Now, once again, I will put a link on my blog to the original card and video that I did explaining how I made this front panel. And we're just going to pop it on, and I'm going to put it toward the top so that I have got some room for my little greeting there. So we're going to set this aside for a few moments and just let that set up. And we're going to go ahead and make our greeting. My greeting is from the Flowing Flowers stamp set, and it's this one here. I love a stamp set that's got just a note on it, because I do send the odd message to people, or I send them you know, decorate up a pad, and it's just perfect greeting for that. So I just got it on my block, and I'm going to use some crumb cake ink and stamp that up. And I'm going to kind of put it in the middle that way and toward the top that way, and it will come clear in a moment why that is. I'm still troubled that oh, there's my notepad. I knew I had it somewhere. It just got hidden. Now, if you look at my original one, you can see it's cut out, and we've got scalloped edge, which goes with the decorative piece here, and the nice little stitched edges. And this was done with the Stitched So Sweetly dies. This is a real favourite of mine, and I find myself reaching for them an awful lot. Now, there isn't one that will actually just fit this particular size that I've stamped. This one is long enough, but it's just a little bit too wide. But I'm going to use it, and I'm going to show you how to make it a lot smaller. So we're going to get out our mini cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to lay this down so that, let me get some Post-its to hold it in place. So I'm going to lay this down so that it's centered this way, but it's toward the top as far as the die is concerned. I'm going to pop it down, and because I don't want it to move, I've just got a couple of little stickies to hold it in place to make sure that it doesn't shift at a critical point. Let's pop it like that. Now you can use washi tape, you can use painters, low tack painters tape to hold this in place. There we go. And then I'm just going to pop the top on, and we can crank it on through. There we go. So now we've got this piece all nicely cut. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to make sure that the scallops are all lined up from the piece of cut card into the scallops on the die. And so to make sure that it's not going to move any further, I'm going to lay it down upside down, and I can see exactly where everything is. And we're going to put another piece of sticky note there. I'm pressing it really firm, and then pop it back into the machine with the on top, and then just gently crank it through again. Set that as one side, and it has cut my Post-its, but that doesn't matter because they're not needed for anything. And there we've got our greeting on a smaller piece of card, perfect for our notepad, perfect size for our notepad. I'm just going to use a tiny little, oh, there's a little bit of that Post-it, let's get it off. I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of liquid adhesive again, pop that down, and just sort of center it up as best I can. And there's our decoration. And so our final piece is I'm going to use, again, double-sided tape to put my pad in. This is quite weighty, so you need to give it a fair old chance to stay stuck. And a couple of pieces down the side. There we go. Now I'm going to use a technique that my friend Ellie in the UK showed me some time ago. So I'm going to start by taking the backing off, and I'm just going to draw the backing off just a small amount, and then just have the bits hanging off of the edge. Now doing it this way makes it much easier to get everything positioned inside the cover, lined up, without having to deal with lots of sticky. So first thing we're going to do is make sure it's the right way up. So I'm then going to position it hovering a little bit, and I'm going to make sure that it's sort of pushed up against the spine there, but it's a tight fit. There's only sort of about an 1/8 of an inch all around. So I'm just looking at it, and you can see that if I gently pull that up, it's going to come up. And that's because these pieces here are not exposing all of the adhesive at the same time. And, you know, if you put it down once and it's not in the right place, then you find that you can't really take it up again without damaging your beautifully crafted cover. So now that's down, I'm going to push it down in the corners, and then very, very gently we're going to pull back those and expose the adhesive like that. Isn't that a cute technique? It certainly makes life a lot easier. And then this is our final piece. And then I'm just going to press firmly, turn it over, and just make sure my pad is nicely adhered in there. There we go. Where's our little pocket? And then our pen, just to finish everything off. Well, I think it's a fun thing to do 3D projects. I really do hope that you've enjoyed this one. Remember that the link below this video will take you to my my blog, where you'll get all the information on this. If you have enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you don't already do so, then to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Well, thank you for joining me today. Bye for now.